Auzubillahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalatu wassalamu ala Muhammadin wa alihi tayyibin at-tahirin. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Rabbi zidni ilman. So, assalamu alaikum everyone. Today, inshallah, we will be continuing with our series on Sura Furqan, which talks about the characteristics of the Ibadur Rahman, or the most sincere servants of the All-Merciful. And in verse 67, another quality is mentioned, and which is that they are qawama. They adopt the just mean in spending. So verse 67 says, and they who, when they spend, are neither extravagant nor parsimonious, and they keep between these the just mean. So let's remind ourselves that Islam at its core is the middle path, the path between two extremes. And prophetic traditions state that a virtue lies between two vices. In other words, most of the virtues are the balance between two extremes. So the extreme of anything, say if it was even, courage would be the balance or the virtue. But too much of courage would be foolhardiness. It would be taking risks without any benefit. And that would be one extreme, which then becomes a vice. Or the opposite of that would become cowardice, not taking any risk, not standing up for the. So can we see that a virtue lies in between two vices is, the middle path. And in this verse, the virtue mentioned is that of infaq, or spending on others. The idea of spending, of course, is not up for debate. The Quran mentions it all the time. Spending is, always mentioned with salah. You worship God and you attend to the needs of His creation. That is one of the fundamental principles of Islam. Others have a right in what has been granted to us in trust, and they are the means by which we are the means by which they are given sustenance. So, as in all areas of our lives, we have to be mindful and responsible in how we give. Another similar verse of the Quran says, "And let not thine hand be shackled to thy neck, nor let it be entirely open." And that's from Surah Isra, verse 29. So let us consider what this implies. Now, in ordinary spending, of course, this is a wise rule, which we have discussed before, but even in charity, we are meant to be generous, but we should not be extravagant. And scholars explain that this means that we should neither do it for show or to impress other people or do it thoughtlessly, which would be the case if we take money, the Robin Hood approach, right? Rob Peter to pay Paul, for example. While giving, we need to be mindful of the rights of those who depend upon us, of our own needs, and strike a perfectly just balance between them. And prophetic traditions shed further light on this issue. So Imam Rida alayhi salam has said that moderate expenditure is the Quranic criteria of the rich according to his means and the straitened according to his means, a provision in a fair manner. And Imam Sadiq alayhi salam in a tradition said, to spend for the sake of falsehood is extravagance, even if it be little. So in other words, the intention with which we give is paramount. Even if we give a little, but the intention is to support less than worthy causes or to look good, it may well be regarded as israf. So again, in current times, as a community, we have more resources than any other time in history. And so many of us have been granted more than we need or we can use. So the issue of israf in spending at first glance may not be that applicable. However, while this verse is about monetary spending, it can definitely apply to all sorts of spending, including our time. And this is where all of us could take a lesson from it. Time is a fixed resource, and for many, it is a harder resource to be responsible with than money. For example, we may be doing very many good things. We may be volunteering, very keen to volunteer outside the house, as we get so much validation and appreciation. It gives us satisfaction, boosts our self-esteem to be of use to others. However, if we are giving so much of our time and energy in such situations, or at work for that matter, that we return home depleted and empty with nothing further to give, we may really want to remind ourselves of this verse. If our loved ones are complaining about how little they get to see us, maybe we might want to examine if we are living the just means and balancing responsibilities appropriately. So we might use this verse to remind ourselves that there are those who have the first right on our time, such as our families. Being balanced and taking a just mean, includes taking account of the rights of those closest to us in regards to all of our resources, such as time, energy, and money. So, this is a good self-check. When we come home from volunteering after a long, hard day or an evening, and we come home feeling empty, that, depleted, not empty, but depleted, that we are tired. And if the needs or demands or requests of our family are sounding a bit irritable to us, if they're making us irritable, we really need to ask ourselves if this verse might apply to us in that moment. So thank you for listening, and inshallah see you again tomorrow. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.